Okay, so here we have this beautiful BMW M3 convertible that we're going to be showing you guys how to completely wash and then completely decontaminate the exterior of the bodywork here. So first things first, we have our pre-diluted 1Z Blitz. We have this diluted at about a rate of 1 parts Blitz to 15 parts water. So it's pretty diluted, but still relatively strong enough to remove any embedded soil that may be on the surface. Now we're going to spray this all over the entire paintwork and bodywork and wheel wells and wheels and basically the entire exterior of the car in order to loosen up the dirt prior to rinsing it off. You don't have to do this on every single car wash. If you're maintaining a car that's already been detailed or something like that, it's not necessary, but we use this prior to any decontamination or paint correction just to avoid the potential of scratching as much as possible. So we're going to compress here a little bit, give a little bit of air, and just provide a nice even coat all over the entire car. This is also going to help loosen up bugs that may be stuck to the front bumper here, as well as road grime and stuff like that just from everyday driving. Make sure you get all, nicely inside the wheel well here, so that way it gives a full nice even coating, as well as on the wheels a bit. Now this doesn't replace wheel cleaner, but it is going to make the wheel cleaner's job a bit easier. After you're done using the Quasar Venus atomizer, you always want to make sure you decompress the bottle, because if not, you could risk damaging the mechanism. Okay, and now at this point, now we've finished spraying the entire car down with 1Z Blitz. Now we can go ahead and give it a rinse with our pressure washer. Pressure washer is recommended because it's going to help loosen as much dirt as possible. You can use a fire hose with a regular hose if you don't have a pressure washer, but just keep in mind you're not going to get the same amount of dirt off without a pressure washer as you would with one. So you're going to want to start from the top. You always want to start from top to bottom because gravity is going to bring all the dirt down, so it would be pointless to rinse the bottom of the door here and then go back up to rinsing the top because the dirt's just going to fall right back on the surface you just rinsed. So just start off with the top and work your way down to the bottom. Alright, so here we're going to be using the Adams car shampoo as the shampoo of choice on this car wash in particular. It's a very concentrated shampoo, only requires about 1 to 2 ounces of soap per bucket, filled to about 4 gallons or so. So as you can see here, we have 3 different buckets. Every time you wash a car, you want to make sure you have 3 dedicated buckets, 1 dedicated just to your wheels, and as well as the wheel brushes and all those things, and then 2 dedicated for your paint. So we're going to apply some soap into the wheel bucket now. Give us about a couple ounces or so. As you can see, it's all distributed in there. So we're going to want to grab a brush and sort of agitate it a little bit, get it nice and pink. Make some suds if we want to, not necessary though. And go ahead and take this over to our first wheel. And we have the Einzig ColorTech wheel cleaner. We're going to go ahead and spray this onto the wheel here. You're going to want to first make sure you spray it very well and very evenly inside the barrel, as well as some on the brake caliper, as well as some on the hub. Make sure you get in all the lug nuts and inside all these little crevices and everything as well. You can use gloves if you want to. It's not necessary, although it can irritate your skin slightly if you want. If you want to, wear gloves just to be safe. So now you can see it's going to start reacting with the iron particles and the grime in the wheel. We'll just give it a couple minutes here to start to set in. You'll start to see the purple. See how it's starting to change color ever so slightly? So if we just give that a couple more minutes, you'll see it even more. You can see here how it's starting to react with the iron particles and removing the grime as it's starting to change color. So See how it's getting that purple color to it? You want to give it about 2 to 3 minutes of dwelling time, and then you can go ahead and agitate the cleaner. So you're going to use a brush like this one here in order to reach inside all those little nooks and crannies and crevices that you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise. I mean, you want to make sure you're getting full coverage, make sure you're getting exactly what it is that you want to hit, and you'll use the different brushes and everything to make sure that you get all those different surfaces. So for right here, just with this brush, we're only getting this surface for right now. Now we're going to use the Easy Detail brush in order to get inside the barrel of the wheel. So you stick this inside, and with an in and out motion as well as twisting is the way to get the best cleaning action. See all the dirt and stuff that this brush takes out? Okay. Now that you've cleaned the barrel of your wheel with the large Easy Detail brush, we're going to grab the mini one in order to get the smaller areas as well as behind the spokes where we couldn't get with the other one. So this little mini brush is really nice because it fits into all these little small little sections you wouldn't be able to reach at all otherwise. Right, dip it in the bucket. And what's unique about the Easy Detail brushes is that you can bend them, like so, in order to properly reach behind the spokes. Avoid cutting up your hand and be able to fully reach all the surfaces.
Can you do the same thing with the other brush?
Yeah, you can also bend the larger one as well. Just this smaller one fits better around all these little sections, so that's why we use the small one to get behind the spokes. Next, we're going to grab a sponge in order to get the larger surfaces. Then after we hit the wheel with the sponge, we'll use the brush to touch up any areas that we may have missed. You can also use a microfiber mitt, a microfiber towel. A bunch of different media can be used at this point if you don't have a yellow sponge similar to this one handy. So now we're going to grab this brush again, and we're going to get inside the lug nuts here. In order to properly get this, you need to stick it inside and twist. Yep, and as you can see, this is the cleaner dripping out all that purple stuff there. And you also want to get this outer edge here, as well as your tire. We're going to grab our angled brush in order to get inside the fender well in here. You want to insert this from the bottom. Go ahead and agitate as much as possible. Don't force it into anywhere if it doesn't want to go. As you can see, this car is relatively low, so it's not going to be completely effective to get all of the necessary areas. So in cars like this that are lowered, we can also grab the Easy Detail brush once again and get all those areas that we couldn't reach before. Okay, so now that we've finished cleaning the entire wheel, we're going to go ahead and give it a pressure rinse to remove all the cleaner and make sure that we didn't miss any spots. And voila, you're a clean wheel. Now you want to make sure you didn't miss any spots. If you didn't, if it looks okay to you, proceed on to the next. Okay, so now that you've got all your 4 wheels clean and rinsed off just to make sure there's no residue left, you can go ahead and start working on washing the paintwork. So now we've also added soap to our soap bucket, as well as we have a rinse bucket over here with a grit guard in the bottom, as well as just clean water, no soap in this one. What we're going to do is we're going to take the mitt out of the soap bucket, go ahead and wash the panel. After we're done washing that section or panel, then we're going to dip it back into the clean water bucket, agitate it to remove all the dirt particles. Then the dirt particles are going to sit below that grit guard down there, and then only at that moment we're going to transfer it back into the wash bucket, the soap bucket, to go back to the paint again. That way we make sure that the soap bucket always remains clean. So let's go ahead and take these over to where we'll get started. And similar to when you were spraying the car down with Blitz, you're always going to want to start from the top and work your way down. So we're going to start with the roof of the car. Make sure you stir the soap very well. And we're using our Microfiber Madness and Credit Mitt. Nice amount of soap there. Go ahead and apply it to the surface. So you want to do a small section like so, and then you're going to flip the mitt to then continue on. Just this is to make sure that you don't keep dragging that dirt all over the rest of the car. Sure. And you can go ahead and flip it again. If you're doing glass, you don't really have to keep rinsing it all too often because you can't really scratch the glass all too much with the washing. So now we have half of our roof done. We're going to go ahead and rinse in the rinse bucket. And as you can see, I'm agitating the mitt in order to get the dirt out. I'm going to squeeze as much water out of there as you can. Then go ahead and dunk back into your soap bucket again. Now we'll go ahead and move over to the other side of the roof. So now you've got the roof completed, and you can start working on the hood, which is the next most important panel of the car. I like to give the hood a second pass just because this tends to be one of the dirtiest parts of the car. And back in your rinse bucket. Take the water out. Back in the soap bucket. And then we go back to the paint again. Back to your rinse bucket again. Okay, so now once you've gotten the hood done, then you can go ahead and start working on your vertical panels. The way you wash the vertical panels, though, is slightly different than the way you're going to wash the horizontal panels. You're going to get your soap, and here, instead of going side to side like so, what you want to do is up and down motions like this. Especially when you get down here where it's going to be more soiled, make sure you get a fresh section of the mitt, and you're going to do a swipe down like so. That's all you're going to do is just swipe it down. You don't want to bring that dirt back up. So that's why we're just swiping down and not bringing it back up. Then go ahead and agitate very well inside the rinse bucket again. And continue on. Now getting inside grills and stuff like this, you can wedge a corner of your mitt like so in order to get inside there very well. Or you can use a brush if you'd rather. Okay, so now you've got the whole exterior of the car clean. We're missing one last step, and that's the exhaust tips here. So you see this black residue here. We're going to remove that using the 1Z W99 industrial cleaner like I was explaining beforehand. Now we have that here inside our Quasar Venus compression sprayer, as well as it's equipped with the foaming tip in order to foam up the product as it comes out. So we give it a little bit of compression. We're going to go ahead and apply some here to the tips. And also take our miniature easy detail brush, apply a slight bit to there as well, and go ahead and begin to agitate. See how it starts to foam up? And see how the black soot is starting to be removed. Mind you, it's not going to remove all the soot. You're still going to have to do some metal polishing, but at least it's going to make the metal polishing much easier because you're not going to have to remove as much. If you do this on a regular basis, in that case, you wouldn't need to do any kind of metal polishing. But since this car has not previously been detailed, it's a little bit more baked on there. Yeah, that's it. So now once you've done with the exhaust tips, you want to make sure you rinse off the cleaner, but you don't want to spray water directly into the exhaust tip. You want to spray it from the top angle like so. And from underneath. But you don't want to necessarily spray it directly in. And voila. As you can see, it still has a bit of black residue, but later on we'll go ahead and metal polish that, and that'll leave it just like brand new again. Okay, so now that you've got all 4 wheels cleaned, you've got your exhaust tips cleaned, as well as you've already washed all the bodywork, now it's time to give the car a final rinse off with your pressure washer. You're also, just like before, you're going to want to start from the top and work your way down. Okay, so now that you've got the entire car rinsed off, at this point, if you're just giving the car a maintenance car wash, you can go ahead and dry it off and then follow it up with your quick detailer spray of choice. Or if you're going to decontaminate the car for just decontamination, or if you want to seal it or perform paint correction or polishing afterwards, now you can follow into the next videos of part 2, where we're going to go through a full decontamination process of decontaminating the exterior of this vehicle. Thanks for watching our video. If you like our videos, please feel free to share them on your social media page. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos from SSD, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.